Hey, this is Dr. Barrett. Thanks for joining us on the Real Health Podcast. My passion is to help equip you with information that can change your life, the health of your life, and the health of your families. I'm a board-certified chiropractic physician with a passion and emphasis in nutrition and sleep and how to biohack the body to get to a greater level of health. Thanks for listening in to the Real Health Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. We are diving into a day-by-day journey into fasting. So this is day 2 for me. So I'm a little bit over 24 hours in and, 36 hours in. And so just want to talk you through day 2, what to expect, what's going on in the body. And then we'll get into day 3 tomorrow. So if you're at this point in the fast, day 2, it could be a really good day or it could be a really rough day. And it's really contingent upon how well your body is fat adapted. So what I mean by that is this morning when I woke up, energy levels were really high. So kind of my morning routine, got up at 5, jumped into the sauna, did about an hour in the sauna. Now that's a slow, steady rise of temperature. So it started off in my garage. Right now it's about 60 degrees. So at the end of it, after spending an hour, it goes from 60 obviously all the way up to about probably only about 110 to 115 is where it'll end off in that hour. But because of that far infrared, we're getting that deep penetration. So I'm sweating early on. 80 degrees, I'm sweating pretty profusely. So it's not terribly hot. It just warms up towards the end. So that's why I spent an hour there. And so, man, my energy levels are fantastic. I feel really, really good. Mental clarity's sharp, which means I haven't tested yet. I'll do that this afternoon. I'm probably in a mild, moderate state of ketosis already. And so for me, things are good. There's no hunger right now. Hydration levels are really high. I'm drinking to thirst. So it's not necessarily something I'm just, counting. I'm more or less just listening to my body, and when it's thirsty, I consume water. I'm consuming a ton of electrolytes right now. So I'm doing a blend of Element. I've already had one pack today. And then I'm doing a product called CT Minerals, adding in, which is a bunch of humic and fulvic acids. And so when I started off today's podcast, and I said, hey, this may be a really good day, a really bad day, day 2 for you. It'd be a really bad day if you are not fat adapted, which means that your body is a little bit more inflamed. Your insulin levels have been kind of high consistently. You have blood sugar dysregulation. And so what's going to happen is your body's fighting to get into ketosis, but it's not there yet, and it's struggling because your glycogen levels are depleting, your insulin levels are lowering, which is great. These are the things that we want, but you're not really efficiently burning fat for energy. And so those ketones, which is a secondary source of fuel, is not increasing rapidly to provide energy for the brain, energy for the body. And so you're just kind of stuck in this limbo, and it can stink. It can just suck. So anyway, day 2, you're really switching into that fat burning mode. Your insulin levels are lowering, and you're really kind of making headway into day 3. Some other cool things that are happening within the body. You're really not getting into the full benefit of a fast, which is autophagy, cancer killing. We'll talk about that in later episodes. Really, one of the things that your body is doing is your body's lowering a hormone, the hunger hormone called ghrelin. So as you have lower levels of ghrelin and stable insulin levels, your insulin levels aren't being spiked through food consumption, you are now going to lessen food cravings. So in essence, as we get into stage 2 of fasting, then we see this benefit of, hey, my hunger food cravings are starting to decline, which is great. This allows you to, feel like the fast is getting a little bit easier. Well, this is different for every person, though. Right? Like we talked about before, that shift may not happen until day 3. For some, it may happen on day 2. But that's, in essence, what's happening from a hormonal perspective. There's a really cool boost in a hormone called BDNF, which is a brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And this is a protein that's produced in your brain to protect existing brain cells. And so BDNF supports the growth of brain cells, brain neurons, and really enhances memory and learning and boosts overall mood. So for a lot of people, you're getting this ghrelin insulin shift, you're getting this rise in BDNF, and now we're starting to get this mental clarity, memory formation improving, mood is starting to increase and improve. And again, you can see that as early as on day 2, which is really where I'm at right now. And if you're not there yet, all right, if you're fasting and this is day 2 for you, and you're not feeling great, completely understandable. What we want to do is make sure we're just pushing through to that breakthrough point, and that breakthrough may happen hopefully for you by day 3. To help you transition into fasting a little bit more efficiently, and to get into that sweet spot in day 2, my encouragement to you would be before you decide to fast for 3 days or more, a couple months before, start doing some one-day fasts, maybe once a week. Drop your carbohydrate load and start consuming more fat and protein. Experiment with intermittent fasting daily. And so what this will do is it'll help your body naturally learn how to be more fat adapted, so that when you step into day 2 of a fast, your body's already used to this and can step into that fat adaptation and ketosis state a lot more efficiently. All right. Things that I'm also doing on day 2. So when you're fasting, you're really, like I said on yesterday's episode, you're trying to pull back on your physical exertion. So I'm not doing a ton of volume in my strength work. I'll do 1 rep to 3 rep work at about 80%, 60 to 80%. I'll do a lot of sauna, walking, yoga, stretching, mobility. So that's my goal. I will still do a cold plunge today, even in the pouring rain, and it's cold out. I'm going to jump in and see how that goes. So I'll let you know tomorrow. The cold plunge yesterday, pretty easy. It was day 1, nothing crazy to report. And the last thing I'll mention is, I got notes on for you today. The last thing I'll mention is when you start fasting, your body naturally is colder as your metabolism starts to drop. So just be mindful of that. That's totally normal. As you just feel colder, nighttime will be colder. So I ran my temperature. We're usually sleeping about 63 degrees. Last night was 65 and an extra blanket. And I was still relatively cold in the beginning of the night, and then started to warm up. In the middle of the night, I added another blanket, and the rest of the night was pretty solid. So just be mindful that when you're fasting at night, you'll especially be colder. Increase your room temperature, and maybe even add another layer of warmth for you throughout the day to make sure you're staying warm. But that's it. Day 2, fasting, done.
Thanks so much for listening to the Real Health Podcast with Dr. B. Before you get out of here, before you exit, there are 2 things that would really help the Real Health Podcast. One would be to share it on your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, wherever you're on a social network. And then 2, go to Apple Podcasts and scroll to the bottom and give us a 5-star review and leave us a review. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.